Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, I am finally ready to start the next Make a Junk Journal with Me series. I've done one of these before with the paper bag journal. I'll link that series below in case you want to check that out and do that one first, but you don't have to have done that one first, but that might be a good introduction for you. It's the one that I recommend for the total beginner who has never made a journal before maybe. And yeah, I recommend making a paper bag journal as the first journal to try just because it's so simple. It's really quick, really easy. The paper bag itself is the cover. The binding is so easy because you just treat the cover as one of the pages, and you can from there create amazing, beautiful journals just using those basic skills. So that kind of teaches the fundamentals, and then you can take those skills and then dress them up however you want and take those and apply them to bigger journals and to journals where you make your own cover, and then eventually to binding multiple signatures in a journal. So I'll link that below in case you want to check that one out. But it went really well, that series, and so many people made a journal with me, and it was really, really fun. I loved seeing what everyone made, and I thought, well, let's keep going with that, and let's try to make every other type of journal cover that I know how to make, or a journal. And a while ago, I shared a video, 12 ways to make a journal cover, and I'll link that below too. And I asked if anyone would like to do another Make a Junk Journal with Me series, and that I was taking requests of which cover or which type of journal you wanted to make first. And quite a few of you put in your requests, so we'll get through them all. My plan is to go through every single type of journal and we'll make one together. And my patrons get first preference. So Tanya is the first patron who commented, and she said that she would like to make a journal, a fabric cover journal, and she didn't mind if it would be hardcover, soft cover, or what kind of journal, just a fabric cover journal. So I've decided to make a single signature fabric cover journal. So really basic. This is a nice one to ease into as a step up from the paper bag journal. So we're going to apply just the same principles there, but this time we're going to make our own cover, which is a bit more exciting, a bit more creative. In this video, yeah, I'm just going to introduce this whole Make Us a Junk Journal series. I'm going to share the materials that you will need for it, and then I'm going to give you a bit of time to collect all your materials, get them ready. And then after that, how it's going to work is I'll share the video, a 3-part series or 4-part series, and it'll go over 4 days. So the first one will be making the cover. The second one will be getting the pages ready. The third one will be the binding. And this time I am going to add one. We will embellish the journal together too. So that's kind of exciting. All right. Let me see, what am I going to share next? Let's go through the materials that you will need. I've got a list here that I'm just looking at so I don't forget anything. Well, actually, first of all, here's a look at some of my fabric cover journal covers that I've got in the works right now, just to inspire you and kind of show you what we're going to be making. So if you're interested in making something like this, I'm just showing you different fabrics work and different patterns. So I think this one came from you, Tanya, too, this fabric. So that's kind of fun. And the whole idea, like, you can make it as simple as you want with just the fabric speaking for itself, and then you can dress it up as well. So this one I've put fabric on here as a base and then dressed it up with wedding dress material. So you can add your own stuff to the cover if you want. For this basic Make a Junk Journal with Me series, we're just going to do your simple fabric, but you go ahead and do whatever you want with it. Yeah, let's get into the philosophy actually first before I go into materials. My idea for this is that, yeah, a total beginner could do this. Someone who's never made a journal could do this series. And it's a good way to just introduce you to the principles, the method that you can then take into any other journal that you make. The other idea that I'm working with here is that you can make this journal with very basic materials and very cost effective. So hopefully most of them you've got around the house already. If not, hopefully you can find them in an op shop or the cheap shop, or the news agency. So everything I've chosen, I've kind of thought of that and got that in mind for you guys. So it's easily accessible and cheap to get. Okay, so let's go through materials. over here. So the first thing you will need is some fabric, since it's a fabric cover journal. I'm using two fabrics that I thrifted. This was from an op shop, and it's just, a large piece of material. I shared this in an op shop haul video. It's really, really pretty, and you can already see that I made a cover with that. So I'm going to make another cover with that. Really pretty blue florals. And then this one I got in a clothes swap. So again, I thrifted it. It's a skirt that I've cut up. Really pretty skirt, really pretty pattern. And you can see that I made this journal cover, which is one of my favorites, if not my favorite one of the collection here. So really, really pretty, and I'm glad that I've got enough to make a second cover, which we'll do together as well. So get your fabric, and then over here you will also need something to make your cover out of. So I use paper pad backings. So grab a paper pad, and this piece at the back, this card, that's what we're going to make the cover out of. So it's kind of sturdy-ish, but not too sturdy that you can't fold it. You need something that you're going to be able to fold. And I love the idea that the paper pad, well, I coffee dye all of these papers and put those into journals. So you're going to use every part of it. It's not going to be a waste at all, and cheap to get. So you just grab any kind of paper pad. I've got lined paper pads before, and all different types of paper pads. You can also use the back of a scrapbook paper pad if it's not one of those ones that's like heavy card that you can't fold. And it doesn't matter too much the weight of it. I've done it with thinner card than this. I've done it with a bit thicker card than this. As long as you can get it to fold, that's pretty much it. And just depending on how thick it is, you might have a really, a foldy, moldy journal. That just sounds terrible. A cover that you can mold and bend and shape. Whereas this cover doesn't really, it's much sturdier. It doesn't really fold. I can if I force it, but like this one's a lot, bendier. And both are good. So this one, I like the idea that it can mold to the pages and it won't get alligator mouth. But this one, gets a bit more structure. So both are good. Whatever you have will work. Another idea is to use the front and backs of exercise books. Maybe you've got kids and they have exercise books from previous years that you can just chop off the front and the back of. That's what I did with some of my exercise books from way back when I was at primary school. Well, not chopped off the front and back covers, but there were lots of pages that I hadn't written on, and so I coffee dyed those. And I love that idea. That's thrifting stuff from my own personal life. But this music cover book, music book, was from my mum. She played piano. I have lots of memories growing up of her, listening to her play piano, and she gave me some of her piano books. So I've got a bunch of others. So I've used every single page in this, as you can see. And I've already used the back cover to make this journal, actually. So yeah, I will cut this down and make a journal cover using this front of the book. So yeah, really, really fun to use things just around the house that you can find. And then my idea for the pages this time, I wanted to challenge myself and do only coffee dyed pages. I've never done that before. I've always included, book pages or other note papers or scrapbook papers, but this one, my challenge was to only use coffee dyed pages. And I wanted to do this not just for fun for me, but to show you how you can create something really interesting and fun in the junk journal style, only using coffee dyed pages, by creating interest through the pages that you choose. So things like, what you can choose is like envelopes, so coffee dye an envelope, coffee dye your doilies, coffee dye notebook paper. So I have lots of journals and notebooks because I collect notebooks ever since I was a kid. I've been collecting notebooks, and lots of them I would just write, I would half fill it, and so the second half I just ripped out all the pages, all those blank pages, and coffee dyed them. So and you get some really cool flourishes and different designs of lines in those notebooks. So I just chose a couple of different notebooks, or a few actually. So this one is a different design. It has these rounded edges, and like it's got a thicker line at the top. So just that variety right there. My cat is crying. tried to film this with him and he was just running around everywhere knocking stuff off. So I'm doing this without him in the room. So this is another notebook. This is a bullet journal. So you can see the dots here. So again, just gives it a different look. And it was also cream pages. So you get a different coffee dye texture or tone there. And then I coffee dyed some dictionary paper. I love using dictionary paper in my journals. And usually I wouldn't bother coffee dyeing this in my journals. But because my challenge was to only use coffee dyed paper, I coffee dye them. So if you have any book pages that aren't, you know, vintage or that aren't discolored and brown enough, you can just coffee dye them if they're of a nice weight. Then you can use any type of lined paper. This one I got from an op shop. It was a guest book and I just used every single page. This one, lined paper with the red line down the side. This one, lined paper with the holes in it. So that gives it a different look again. And like the double line at the top, and it's only blue lines. This one has red and blue lines. This one has wide lines. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll bring it up closer. So yeah, wider lines there. This one, large grid paper. I've got medium grid paper, and then I've got smaller grid paper. So again, easy to find either in your own collection at home or at the op shop, or the news agency has these for pretty cheap. And you can get all different types of papers. So you can try graph paper, ledger papers, whatever you can find. And you don't even need this many different types. I wanted to try and get as many different types as possible just to create that interest. But if you've only got one type of grid paper, just use grid paper 3 times over in your journal, whereas I use the 3 different types of grid paper. But just use whatever you have. And then I coffee dye music paper. So this came from that book that I showed you before, where I ripped out all the pages from my mum's music book. So love that. And then just your plain copy paper. Lots and lots of that coffee dyed. So I have a video on my Patreon. I was thinking of you guys. It's a public video that anyone can see. So I'll link Patreon below and just scroll down a little bit and you'll find it. And it shows you all my tips and tricks for coffee dyeing. If you've never coffee dyed before, that will be handy. If you have, maybe it still will be handy for the tips and tricks. For example, coffee dyeing doilies. One of my tips is to not dunk it in the coffee solution, but do a layer of coffee dye. Then just place the doily on top and then do another layer of coffee dye with other papers on top. So it seeps through on both sides and then you get a coffee dye doily without it ripping at all. And you could do that for any type of thin page. I did it with the envelopes too, and any type of thin page. Not the envelopes, sorry. I did it with the thin notebook pages and it works as well there. And I give tips on how much coffee and how dark and everything and how I do it, my process. So check that video out. I'll also link below a video where I show my actual process, coffee dyeing. It's just a bit of a bit of a meal of a video because I was with my niece and we were outside and in the elements and we hadn't rehearsed anything. So it was just like, okay, do this. Okay, no, do this. Okay, oh no, the spoon's falling in the water. Oh no. So, but you get an idea of actually seeing the process. The other video on my Patreon though, that has all my tips and that shares verbally my process, and I show you my tin that I use to dye it all and the coffee that I use and everything. So you do have to do a little bit of work for this journal. So that's why I want to get this video out now, right away, so that you have time to coffee dye your papers and prepare them. Having said that, if you just don't have any time to coffee dye, or you're just nervous about it, or you just don't want to do it, you can use all these same pages without the coffee dye. You've got the variety there. There's nothing that says you need to have a coffee dye journal. Plain white pages are fine. And I quite like plain white pages, because then I don't feel so bad about covering them up. And for the junk journal style, it's very visual and you put ephemera on the page. So a white page doesn't matter at all. Don't get hung up if you can't coffee dye for this series. Having said that as well, I have managed to make a few packs of coffee dyed paper packs, and I will put them up in my Etsy and the link will be below, so they'll be ready by the time this video goes out. And they are for people, I guess, who just don't have time, or don't like or don't enjoy coffee dyeing, or just want the same stuff as me. I really wanted to give that option for some people. In the previous video series with making a junk journal with me, I offered my buy one get one free with my background art papers in my Etsy, and I was amazed. So many people bought a digital kit so that they could make the same journal as me with the same papers. So I thought if so many people wanted to do that, then I wanted to give that option for you guys. But coffee dyeing, it's a little harder. Etsy digital kits, I can give out as many as people want through that, but paper, I've got limited papers, so there's only a few kits up there. I'm so sorry if anyone would even want that, I'm not sure. But they'll be up there, and it has the exact same 30 pages that I'll be using. So that's the other thing, you need 30 coffee dyed pages. And again, like I want to reiterate, you don't need the exact same ones as me, just get 30 of any type of pages that you want. That's totally fine. I'm just trying to show the variety that you can get just from coffee dyed pages. Okay, so you need 30 pages. Go for the different weights and styles and sizes and all that kind of stuff. And I'll show you then, when we come to the video about getting our pages ready, how to fold the pages, how to get them to look different from each other, and kind of add that interest and all that kind of thing, and how to order them and that stuff. But we'll get to that later in that video. The last item that oh wait, hang on, I skipped ahead, I'm so sorry, I've got it staring in front of me. But you also will need, obviously, scissors, ruler, and something to mark the pages with. I use fabric glue to stick the fabric onto the cover, but you don't actually need fabric glue. I have used craft glue and it works just the same. I know people use PVA. If you know your glues, just choose something. Otherwise, if you have no idea, I would recommend just craft glue or fabric glue. So try to get your hands on that. You also need binding stuff. So your awl, your embroidery needle, or some sort of binding needle. I use this tapestry needle here. And then embroidery thread. You can use waxed linen thread or whatever you want to use, but I love using embroidery thread like this. And also something to hold your pages together. I use bobby pins, the really, really long ones, but you can use bulldog clips or large paper clips or something like that. So that's what you need for the binding. And then, last of all, for materials, I will embellish the journal this time. And what I wanted to do was also show, to fit in with the coffee dyed pages, I wanted to use neutral vintage ephemera. So I've just pulled out a collection of ephemera from all my digital kits and all my own stash, and made 7 sheets. So there are 7 sheets of ephemera here that I'm going to try and show you all of them, of various different things. Of ledger papers, there's some tags, there's some receipts and things, these check things, there's some French ephemera too, and some of my music covers, vintage music covers, and vintage music sheets. So there's a hodgepodge. I'm calling it the Vintage Ephemera Sampler because this is a one-off special for this project that anyone can have access to if you sign up to be a patron. So rather than putting this up in my Etsy, just because it's a hodgepodge of everything, there's pieces I picked out from the freebie database, from the patron-only digitals, from Etsy collections, Etsy kits, because I've already got an Etsy kit of these up there, but I just pulled out 2 of the vintage, or the brown-looking ones to go with this neutral tone. There's some of my personal ephemera, which is really special. So this is my passport from when I was 4 months old, and I was born in South Korea, but I was adopted when I was 4 months old and came to Australia. So this is my passport from 1986, and it's got the date stamp there and everything, so that's pretty special. This is some note paper from my mum that she took, I think, when she adopted me, and she wrote some details on this note paper, which was really cool. And I love the discoloration and everything. This is from my sister-in-law's grandmother's vintage receipt book, so that's pretty special. And this is just a bonus piece that I found in an op shop. like my very first vintage piece that I found myself. So it's kind of exciting for me. It's a vintage grammar book. So I think it was a teacher, and she's got a list of class people and she's ticking things there or something. So yeah, it's a hodgepodge. I've just selected a few items from each different kit that I have for this journal, and that way, yeah, it kind of shows how you can create something really cool just using coffee dyed paper, limited supplies, and a neutral color scheme. And I've cut them out here so you can see them. And the reason why I did it, 7 sheets, I think there's 30 ephemera pieces altogether in 7 sheets, and I just have it as a Word document, and it's already formatted for you, so it's so simple. All you have to do is hit print, and that just saves time of you having to format the images yourself. And that way it's also the same size as me. So you're going to have the exact same ephemera that I'm using in this exact same size. I recommend printing it on 200 GSM card or paper. I use glossy paper too. It just has a nice finish, but you don't need to. If you only have 180 GSM, that's fine too. If you only have 80 GSM, what I do sometimes is print out my ephemera on 80 GSM, which is your normal copy paper, and then I sew it onto coffee dyed paper. So if you have a sewing machine, you want to do that, you can do that. Otherwise, 200 GSM. So all you need to do to get that, rather than putting it up in my Etsy where it would have been $5 in my Etsy anyway, I will put it up on my Patreon. It's already up actually on my Patreon. As soon as you become a patron, it's $5 to become a patron to access these. And that way you actually get all the bonuses then for a month. You will also get extra videos from me. You'll get to see my face, and you will get to see sneak peeks of all my projects and behind the scenes looks at what I do, and access to everything else at that tier level, at the $5 tier level. There's lots of freebies and lots of other things. So that's just my gift to you, because the last time I did this series, I did the buy one get one free as a gift to you. And so this time what I thought I'd do is this digital kit. It's already kind of 2 kits in one, with 30 pieces, because usually my kits have 10 to 15 pieces in a kit. So you're already getting 2 for 1 for $5, but you're also getting all the benefits of a patron. And that way I thought it could give you like a little sample or a teaser of what it's like to be a patron, but there's absolutely no obligation to stay on being a patron for another month or forever or whatever. You can just stop your subscription after this month, and that way you're only paying $5 for this 2 kits in one and all those other freebies. So I hope that's a fun gift for you. For those who don't have a printer or who just want the same thing as me, I will give a print option. You'll just have to, I'm not too sure how it's going to work since it's not on my Etsy. I might make an Etsy listing just for a print option, because I'm not ever, this is why it's a one-off special. It's never going to be up in my Etsy, this kit, just because it's a hodgepodge of multiple kits all in one. So the only way to get a print option would be either to, I might just make a print listing in my Etsy to cover the cost of printing and postage and all that kind of stuff, and time and labor to go into this and getting it all ready for you. You'll have to cut it out yourself. That part you can do, but I'll print out the 7 sheets for you, and I'll buy the 200 GSM glossy paper for you because I've run out. This was the last 2 kits that I printed out, and I used all the paper. So I will have to get more paper. Otherwise, maybe if you become a $10 patron, then you'll get the print as well automatically. I will just send you the print, no questions asked. If you become a $10 patron, I will print this for you and send it out to you. What do you reckon about that? So yeah, it gives you an option to leave your address. So I will already automatically have your address. So anyone who joins from now on at $10 level, I'll print this out and send it to you. Let's just do it that way. How about we do that? Okay. Unless if you don't want the $10 option, you can just let me know down below, and only then will I put a $5 listing up in my shop for I don't know, it might be a bit more than $5, obviously with postage on top. Just contact me if you can't do Patreon, and I'll do something in Etsy for you. But otherwise, $5 will get you access to the digital kit, $10 will get you access to the digital kit plus printing and posting this to you. I hope that all makes sense. Oh my goodness. I'll leave all that information down below. I hope that's helpful for you guys. I hope that's a gift for you guys. I really want to do something special for you. And I was thinking of those people who wanted to do the same thing as me. If you're one of those people who, likes to follow the recipe to a T, and the thing that's going to help you make a journal is following someone else step by step and using the same things that they have, then that's why I'm doing this, I suppose. For those others who are more creative and advanced in, or trusting their creativity is what I mean, we're all creative, you can go nuts and just adapt it to however you want. And the video series will always be on my YouTube channel. It will never come down. I won't make it Patreon only ever. It would just be on my YouTube, and so you can always refer back to it. So if you're not ready in time, you can still go back to it and make a journal through it. And the idea is that you can, push play, pause, rewind, play, pause, rewind all the time as you're going through the journal. So you're literally making it, watching with me. Of course, you can just watch the whole thing straight through and then try it yourself afterwards. But that's the idea. And the idea, again, my heart behind this is that it just gets you making a journal. I know that it can be really intimidating making a journal, especially your first one, and especially the binding. And I hope that this series gets you either making your first journal or trying a fabric cover journal for the first time, or if you're an advanced person, just, having fun doing something different with me. So yeah, I really do hope it's fun for you guys, and that you can gain more confidence in your own skills making journals and that kind of thing. And yeah, if you want to join the Willow Bound Journals Facebook group page, feel free to share when you've got your supplies. Just take a picture and show it and say, yeah, I'm ready, and here's what I've got. Show me what fabric you're going to use. I'd love to see what fabric you're going to use. And also share a picture of your finished journal. That's what people did last time when they finished their paper bag journal, and it was so fun to see everyone's paper bag journals. And that's also the easiest way to contact me. So if you've got questions, you're like, okay, I watched the video on the binding, but how exactly do I get it tight, or something like that, that's the place on the Willow Bound Journals Facebook group page to ask any questions about how to make this journal and getting supplies ready. And we'll all cheer each other on and all that kind of thing. That's the great thing about the community, the junk journal community. We're all in it together, creating and learning and growing and having fun. So yeah. Okay, let me just check my list and see if I've mentioned everything. Okay, time frame. I was going to leave you guys 1 week to get all your materials ready. How's that sound? Just let me know in the comments. Maybe let me know either in the comments or on the Willow Bound Journals Facebook group page when you've got your materials, and that way I'll know, okay, I can release the next videos, if that makes sense. So I'll try to wait for as many people as possible to get their materials together. Otherwise I might just go ahead, because and then you can catch up later on when you've got them together. And especially with the packs, if anyone was interested in the packs and the ephemera packs to be posted out, I live in Bowen, which is a rural, I can't speak, country town. So postage does take usually about a week minimum to get to people in Australia alone, let alone overseas. It would take ages. So you might just have to wait. But I can gauge, the best way is if I hear communication from you saying when you're ready or when you would like it up, whether you want it up in a couple of days or a week, or you need 2 weeks to get ready, just let me know and I'll gauge it from there. Okay, that's all. I've gone through my list of things. Time frame was the last thing that I needed to share. But yeah, just check the description box below for all of those details. Let me know in the comments if you're going to join in. I would love to know who's going to join in. And I'm just so excited to see who's going to make a journal with me. And I love the idea that we can do it together and make a journal together. And I would love to see your journals. So let me know if you're excited and up for this. And I'm here again every step of the way for any questions that you have, any struggles that you have making the journal. I hope that it's sort of like a course, I suppose, but I'm here to help you in any way with your journal. So yeah, cool. All right, hope that's fun. I'm going to stop rambling and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.